New DNA discoveries could finally unlock this decades-old mystery, revealing long-awaited answers.
So now you have the smaller, DNA. And so I think they've got the evidence.
And you hear, I mean, you guys know, I posted that up about no DNA back then. Back then, they could only tell you, was it a male or a female? Was it O negative or A positive? That's all they could tell you, which is anybody. We have millions, billions of people roaming this planet, but only a few people were around around the house when that happened, wrote a note from the inside of the house, 4 pages. All right, knew the exact number that the bonus was going to be. Come on, guys, let's be real here. What is your gut telling you? Oh, shoot. All right. Sorry.
Manuel Gomez, you're joining the conversation.
Hold on. I
say it, but you notice he was talking more about the DNA, and that's the fact that I found out. Now, what I did know is they haven't researched the aspects they need to, and that is my recommendation and solution to help solve this case is 1, take the new DNA that they found, run it through all the jail databases. That's going to take an investigator anywhere between 2 to 3 months to run the entire United States. But you would run millions of people at one time to see if their DNA matches with the DNA found on the clothes of that little girl. Second, okay, on this case, I don't believe that it was just a pedophile that attacked the girl, but I do believe, unfortunately, that the father was involved. And due to the fact of his cordial, nonchalant attitude when he found the baby and when he brought up the body from the basement, the body, he asked, is she dead? Now, she had rigor mortis. The eyes were white. Her body was complete.
And yeah, I mean, the detective screwed up. That's why they're saying they're getting a new, fresh set of eyes on this, okay? That and everybody that was in the case is probably much, much older. You've seen John Ramsey.
Completely pale. Why would you ask that when you found your kid? You'd be crying. The guy was nonchalant. There's something highly suspicious about him as well.
Manuel, I read Dr. Cyril Weck's book on the case. I've talked to him about it. God rest his soul, one of the greatest forensic pathologists of our time. He was highly suspicious of the father. We're going to get into more of Dr. Weck's findings later this week on the show. But in terms of...
We absolutely are going to. There's another theory from the person that wrote the book. So we've got several things going on today, but it's all related to the new DNA and evidence and a fresh set of eyes.
What investigators are doing here. Tommy Pope, do you think this could be a prompt? Like, are they trying to prompt someone? Because they said nothing in terms of what's new. We don't know what's new. You just came on and said you're working on the case still. Could this be, deliberate?
A law enforcement tactic, in other words. Yeah, I think it could be. I will say it's an irony, Julie. You and I were talking when I saw you in studio in Atlanta, how I got invited to New York to talk about the JonBenet Ramsey case like 30 years ago. And the media was saying, why are they not more forthcoming? And I was explaining that sometimes law enforcement has to keep it close to the vest. And I joked that I never got invited back to that group after I told them the media didn't need to know more. But I think, we do have new technology. I can remember a death penalty case I tried right when DNA first started. And
I mean, they really should keep it close to the vest, because if somebody that was involved in this is watching it, it could mess up the case, but also this could be to stir things up and make somebody really uncomfortable.
It was that RFLP DNA, and you had to have about the sample size of a quarter. And by the time the guy had gotten it overturned and come back and I had to try him again, we had PCR. And so now you have the smaller, DNA. And so I think they've got the evidence. It's like Manuel said, maybe I was thinking run it through the database. Now, the trap is there. If it is an inside job, if it is family related, if he's never been in the system, I'm sure they have their DNA. But, we've got overlay of DNA when you're dealing with family.
So I wonder if they didn't have the DNA from before, what technique they're using to extract it now. They've had all that. If you guys go, and that's the reason I sent you to Ghost, guys. If you go over there and you look at the evidence, it's rough, by the way. Trigger warning. It's not good. You're literally seeing the garrote that was tied with the pencil on it, and you're seeing the evidence. You're seeing the bad, harsh evidence? What techniques did they use? It makes me wonder, you know? Like I said, oh, what, A, B negative, O positive? That ain't going to tell you anything.
Members. So if it's totally
That's a
foreign
joke.
DNA, in other words, not relatives, then maybe they can make a pull from there. And like you said, maybe they have an eye on somebody and they're hoping to see if this makes them change anything. I mean, I've seen, you know, law enforcement can use falsehoods to get confessions, so to speak. So they may say, we've got, you know, we know that there's a red jacket or whatever the case may be. And like you said, wait to see if they go throw it in the dumpster or burn it or things of that.
Yep, and it's coming fast. Mab, good to see you, buddy. I emailed you back. Mab's got the stocking stuffers. All right.
Exactly. There's so many more questions with this case. I wish we had more time.
All right, so what I'm gonna do quickly is I got this clip cut down into 5 minutes just so you can see the actual clip of what he says, and then we're going to look at this from a different perspective.
For nearly 3 decades, JonBenet's dad, John Ramsey, is still waiting for answers and still believes.
Now, every year they do this, okay? Every year they do it. Every year around this time, I told you that this happened around Christmas, okay? Every time they do this, he comes on. He goes to Crime Con. I really want to go to Crime Con, by the way, which we're going to go next year. James, I can drop my email in a minute if the mods don't. All right.
Believing a breakthrough will come. And John joins me now live. John, I can't even count how many times you and I meet at this time of year to discuss what's new, what's happening, what's different, what's changed. But something does feel different this year. To hear Chief Redfern say that they've got new evidence, that they've retested old evidence, and that they're using outside experts. Let's start with the new evidence and the retesting of old evidence. Have they told you anything about that?
All right. And again, let's pay attention to how he acts, how he responds. This happens every year, but every year they don't have new, fresh set of eyes, and they don't have new DNA evidence. And guys, if there's DNA evidence from a male on her panties, right? Then that's a problem. I would just see them on Reddit. See who. Oh, you see the pictures on Reddit? No problem, my friend. No problem. Many of us stay off of Reddit, but I don't want people running into those things. So yes, wherever you can go find them, go find them.
Well, Chief Redfern told us, gosh, I don't know, September, we had a meeting with him, and that he had submitted evidence for additional DNA testing. He didn't say what evidence it was, but that it was submitted again, or perhaps new. We don't know if it was new or stuff that had been tested before. We, of course, have advocated that if certain evidence that was taken from the crime scene has never been sampled, that it ought to be. The main one being the garrote that was used to strangle my daughter. So it's encouraging.
Did you hear how he said that, by the way? When I get a parent that talks like that, or anybody that's talking about an interview and the way he said, I'm just going to do it one more time. Just pay attention to how he says, strangle my daughter, and just kind of didn't really want to say it. And that could be just because, okay, Crime Con, I see it. Just because he doesn't want to think about that. I just don't like it. I don't like it. What's up, One Man Trash? Good to see you. Hold on. I'm going to just go back for a second.
The crime scene has never been sampled, that it ought to be. The main one being the garrote that was used to strangle my daughter. So it's encouraging.
Yeah, he like closes his eyes. I feel like he's blocking it out, and it can be because he wants to block it out and not think about it. But Corinne, what's up? Tears in Heaven, good to see you. CrimeCon is going to be cool. He was at CrimeCon last year. I have him doing a little quick 3-minute interview with Nate Eaton from Idaho News.
And, the key really in progress has been the addition of new leadership there. It was not very good for 25, 26 years. And brought in Chief Rep from the outside. I've met with him 3 or 4 times. I'm impressed with him. I think he's sincere and honest, and So I'm encouraged. And, we've advocated.
I can't believe, John, I can't believe that the chiefs in the past haven't seen it as a priority, if only to become, famous in name as the chief that solved this case. It just defies logic that it's taken 3 decades for someone to come along who maybe does make this a.
It's been since December 26, 1996 is when this happened. All right. So keep that in mind. And what they had, what they didn't have, what they have now, and the cases that have been solved. Look at the Golden State Killer. That was a 30-year-old case. All right.
Priority and who has the chops. Do you know if they have enlisted labs like Othram? And I bring up Othram because it's famous for having solved the Idaho murders.
Yeah, no, Othram is one of the few cutting edge labs that can do investigative genetic genealogy. IgG is the term for it.
And it did sound like that. I'm glad I played it again because I felt weird about it. It wasn't garage, it was garage. And he said, now Coffee and Dog Studio I heard him say the garage, we strangled her, but that is not what he said, Coffee and Dog. And I understand what you're saying. He said the garrote she was strangled with. So I hear what you're saying, and I did play it twice, but we're going to keep going through it because we have more. That's the first time I've heard him pronounce garrote correctly with the O sound all these decades. 100 times he's pronounced it deliberately a sound. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Wes is having he's mad behind me. So let me grab him.
We've been advocating that the Boulder Police do that, use that technology in our case. I think if they do, we've got probably a 70-80% chance of getting an answer. It's been very successful in solving old cold cases. It's kind of the latest and greatest use of technology and DNA to solve crimes.
I'm going to tell you something.